Hey guys, am I audible? Can someone tell me on the chat if I'm audible? Hey guys, am I audible? Can someone tell me on the chat if I'm audible? Guys, am I audible? Thank you, great. Sorry about that. I actually had, so I'm a noob at streaming. I'm streaming for the first time, and I had one more device on my mobile phone. So yeah, that's the reason for the second voice echo. Sorry about that. Just give me a minute. We'll start in a while. Okay. Good evening, everyone. So tonight's session is all about collage rendering. Okay, so we'll be learning how do you render your, it could be plan, it could be an elevation, it could be a 3D quickly, so as to, save your time and make your design boards look, more cool at least. Is there a echo in my voice? Can everyone hear that echo, or is it okay now? Can someone tell me on the chat? Okay, perfect, perfect. That could have been, she must have just joined. That is why. Uh, Thank you about that. Okay, just give me a minute. So before we move ahead, okay. So uh, we are streaming live for the very first time. I'm doing that for the very first time. Okay, so uh, you know there could be some problems. So I apologize for that in advance. Okay, but yeah, if there's any such thing, do mention it on the chat. Okay, we have a couple of moderators from our team on the chat who will help me, improve that. Okay, and yeah, if there's anything, I'll just mention it on the chat, and we'll check that out ASAP. Okay, so it is possible that I might lose internet. I do not stay in a tier one city. I stay at a place called Kalyan, which is close to Mumbai, but yeah, not exactly in Mumbai or in Thane. So if I lose my connection, do not worry. I'll be back as soon as I can through my mobile internet. But yeah, okay, that is a possibility. But yeah, do not worry. We'll cover everything, and I'll be here, to complete everything. And it is going to be a very. I'm hopeful that it's going to be a very good session. Okay, and we'll learn how do we quickly render our, uh, you know, plans and elevations. Okay, so yes, uh, other than that, first thing, please keep taking notes. Okay, so keep taking notes, and if you have any doubt about whatever I'm telling, please mention it on the chat. Okay, so I might not be able to take the chat as soon as I you put them, but I'll be taking all your doubts towards the end. Okay, so we'll have two sessions. First, we'll start with a quick presentation. Okay, that talks about why collage rendering. Okay, why do you guys need to learn that, and then we move ahead to uh, doing it, on Photoshop. Okay, so we'll be using Photoshop tonight. Okay, so I'll be teaching you how to do that hands-on. Okay, so yeah, we'll do that later. And if you have any doubt about anything, just mention it on the chat. Okay, or keep it noted. I'll answer every doubt towards the end. Okay, do not worry about it. Okay, so that is the second thing. Keep taking notes and keep your doubts noted. Third thing, very very important thing, this session would not matter, and would be a complete waste of your time and our efforts if you do not practice. Okay, so it is very 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 important that you guys practice this technique tonight, or maybe tomorrow, but do that. Okay, it could be on a plan, it could be an elevation, it could be any drawing that you have recently made, or for the people, we have your email address, you have registered, you have uh, you have done something to join this session. Okay, so we have your email addresses. We'll be sharing these files that I'll be using tonight. Okay, uh, the view that I'm rendering, that as well as the textures and everything that I'll be using. Okay, I'll make this session a very quick session. Okay, so yeah, for people, for people who have subscribed to our channel, for them it would be there on YouTube for for a couple of days at least. Okay, so yeah, but it is very very important that you guys keep taking notes so that I can clear your doubts tonight before this session ends. Okay, so that is the most important part of conducting, that is the purpose of conducting a live session. Otherwise could have done a video and put it on online. Okay, so that is not the purpose. This would impact, and this would improve your rendering skills only if you ask your doubts. Okay, so make sure you have your keep your doubts ready towards the end, and I'll answer that. Okay, please 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 be active on the chat. Okay, if there's anything, just mention it, okay, on the chat. And this is the first stream that we are doing, so it would be really great if you guys could like this, and so that we could reach out to more and more people later. Okay, and yeah, so please 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 like this stream. Okay, and if not subscribed to, if you have, definitely subscribe to our channel. If not, please subscribe. Okay, and we hope to make more such affordable and free workshops. So this one's a free one. Okay, for the people who support us from our community. Okay, so please if you can like the feed, that would be really really great. Let's start this session. Okay, give me a minute. I'll just go to our presentation. Okay, so I hope, okay, so give me a minute. I hope the presentation is visible to everyone. Okay, and it is clear. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll just set some things up. Okay, so I hope, yeah, my presentation is visible to everyone. Okay, we'll start this. Will not take more than 15-20 minutes to go through this quick presentation, and then we will go back to doing it. Okay, so yeah, give me a minute here. Okay, so this session is all about collage rendering. Okay, so why collage rendering? First things first. Okay, it saves time. Okay, if you want to, if you're attempting a competition or if you're doing a submission, as architects, as creative people, we are always short on time. We are always short on time. Okay, we have submissions every single day, and this again is a time when we have a lot of submissions. Okay, so we are always short on time. So it is very very important for us to learn quick ways, have be skilled in things, to ensure that the things that we need to do. Okay, so it is, we always complete our plans, elevation sections, but when it comes to the render part, the presentation part, it is only that part that suffers due to the lack of time. Okay, so we complete our plans, elevations, and on the very last day, we try to render things. So, we try to model something out and put it on V-Ray or Lumion, and it is a quite a big task where you have to completely model everything before you can actually go ahead and render it. Okay, so it takes some time. Okay, if you want to render it on V-Ray, Lumion, or any such render engine. Okay, because you need to model everything first, and then you go to that render engine, create the environment, and then render it, and then post processes so that it looks beautiful, and it serves the purpose of visualizing your design. That is the whole purpose we render things, so that people, our jurors, our teachers, they can understand our design better. Okay, so if we do it at the very last moment, and we model it, we try to render it, we do not have enough time, and it does not look as good as we would have tried, or we could have done without it, because we have messed it up so much. Okay, so it is very very important that how to do it, better ways, quick ways when you have less time. Okay, so yeah, collage rendering is, because like like I mentioned in our submissions also, we have a lot of drawings to do, two plans, two elevations, two sections, and all of that. So we always have less time to complete our 3ds, our visuals, which would actually make our design understood very easily and quickly. Okay, it is the most important thing, and but at least in competitions, at least in your portfolio. Okay, so for when you apply, when you and for okay, so for people who have been who have been attending our workshops, you already know how important it is, how important a portfolio is for an architecture student. Okay, that is what will get you an internship or a job as a fresher, or later after you, even if you have experience. Okay, portfolio is something that is very very important. And as students, you can make your portfolio stand out, you can make your portfolio look good only if you're attempting competitions. Okay, because the submissions that we do in college, everyone's doing the same briefs. Okay, everyone's solving the same problem. Okay, so we cannot, it becomes difficult to stand out when everyone's solving the same thing. And and sometimes also we do not have the creative freedom to try a lot of new things. Okay, that we would have that would have made our portfolios look good. Okay, so it is always good that we attempt a lot of competitions. And every architecture student, according to us, should at least try 2 competitions every academic year. Okay, and yeah, for competitions, again, a lot of things that you need to do. So collage rendering, comes as a savior, where you do not need to actually, it saves time. Okay, it is efficient and it is quick, and you can quickly create a very good visual for your whole design. Okay, using collage rendering, and we'll be seeing that tonight. Okay, so we have, in the past, we have we have done collage rendering sessions in the past also for our community, for the people who have attended our workshops. Okay, so in that we have sometimes taken plans, sometimes taken elevation. Tonight we'll be doing a different thing, completely different thing. And I'm hopeful that this would be more cool compared to all of that. Okay, so tonight we'll be rendering a kind of a 3D view. Okay, kind of a 2 point perspective that will be rendering tonight. And we'll try to make it look as cool as it can. Okay, so yeah, when we talk about submissions, when we talk about drawings, there are a lot of softwares, and we are always, as students, we are always confused. If you are a fresher, you are always confused which software to go to, what to start with. And if you have a competition, if I should first model it on CAD, then make the model on SketchUp, and then go to V-Ray or Lumion to render it, and then post process it on Photoshop. Okay, so it might take a lot of time. Okay, so apart from drafting software that you learn, that we generally recommend using Revit or a BIM software, because that is the future of architecture. But yeah, even if you're using AutoCAD or anything else, okay, that is, there should be one architectural software that and we would recommend that to be a BIM software like Revit. But yeah, if no if even if that is not the case, the second software that you should be knowing, okay, that we believe is Photoshop. Okay, it has a lot of power. Okay, when it comes to rendering drawings. Okay, not about formatting sheets. For formatting sheets, you need to work on a vector software or something. InDesign, Illustrator, they work better for that. But yeah, when it comes to rendering something, there is no better software than Photoshop. And Photoshop has a lot of power. Okay, so I've been using Photoshop since we have a we got a desktop at home, that that was in back in, I think, 2002 2003. Since that time, I have been trying to duplicate myself, put myself in place of Shah Rukh Khan, and do all those sort of stuff. Okay, so Photoshop is a very very powerful tool. And even if even after using Photoshop for more than 15 years now, I cannot say that I am pro, or I even know 60% of Photoshop. There are so many tools, and it has so much of power in itself. Okay, so yeah, we'll be tonight we'll be using Photoshop. And believe me, Photoshop will always come to your rescue whenever you have less time in rendering things and making things look good. Okay, it could be, so if if you go check my Instagram profile. Okay, so not Karwan's Instagram profile, my Instagram profile is a different one. Okay, okay, so for people who do not know me, my name is Ashutosh Jha. But believe me, okay, that is my introduction is not important tonight. Okay, yeah, but my Instagram account is banjaraban.gha.ra. Okay, so if you see all the photographs in there, okay, they look they might look very good. Okay, and that is only because of my Photoshop skills. And no, and a bit about my photography skills, but not much. Okay, I do not use a I do not have a very good camera or a DSLR or any such thing, or a iPhone. Okay, so most of there are pictures on my feed that have been taken, that were taken back in 10 years ago, when I had a Nokia 5233, which had 1.32 megapixel camera. Okay, so even those pictures come out to be look so good when you use when you edit them on Photoshop. Okay, so similarly, for your plans, elevations, anything that you do. Okay, or visualize your whole project in 3D. Okay, so if when you have less time, you can make your visuals look really really good using Photoshop. And Photoshop is is a tool that we believe every architecture student, or every architect should learn, because you are going to be this in this field for your life. Okay, you have 50 60 or 30 40 years at least in front of you, that you are in this field, and this will always come to your rescue, and you'll always need it. Okay, and it will always help you. Okay, and again, it has a lot of power as a a rendering or as a rendering tool, photo rendering tool, or as a photo editing tool. Okay, not a presentation tool. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so talking about the types of renders. Okay, so first we as students, we start by sketching. And we learn how to do renders using Sketch, and that is something that that strengthens our basics. Okay, and then next we move on to realistic rendering, because we see a lot of our seniors, a lot of our peers doing all that kind of rendering, and then we try to follow them. Okay, so you go to V-Ray, you go to Lumion. There are a lot of other softwares, okay, that help you render stuff, and that again, that is something that you need to learn. Okay, you obviously need to learn how do render your complete drawings, complete projects, and that cannot, if you want to have multiple visuals from a project, then collage rendering is not the most efficient way. In that case, you need to make a model and then know how to use render engines. Then if you have to have multiple visuals, then you need to learn a modeling software and then render it. Okay, it could be Revit or it could be SketchUp, and then followed by Lumion or Vira. Okay, it is completely up to you. But in case when you have less time and you do not have a model software, or if you want to have a render that looks cool, or okay, if you want to have a visual on your sheet, on your presentation, that makes it stand out, that makes it look really good in a very short span of time, that time comes collage rendering. Okay, and it has been a lot of, it has been it has gained a lot of attraction in the past couple of years. People have been doing a lot of architecture illustrations, and they again they are some kind of sometimes collage rendering itself. Okay, so if I ask you guys, can you tell me on the chat if how many of you guys have tried collage rendering in the past? Can you tell me on the chat how many of you guys have tried collage rendering in the past, or if you have not tried? Yes if you have tried, no if you have not. Can you tell me on the chat quickly? uh, okay, more people, so I would request more people to please reply to us quickly. Okay. Okay, so even if you think you have not tried, believe me, you have in some way or the other done a kind of collage rendering. Okay, so collage rendering is nothing but instead of modeling the whole environment, you just you instead use images and you make a collage out of different images, textures, elements, and then you make sure your visual looks good and it looks a complete whole scene is set up using just images. Okay, but yeah, do not worry if you have not tried it. I'll make sure that you learn how to do it tonight, and then you are able to reproduce it and try it in the next couple of days. Okay, but it is very very important for you guys to try. Okay, so okay, so why collage render? First, it is quick. Okay, it takes it is quick as making noodles. Okay, so you do not, because you do not need to model the whole thing. Okay, even if you have a plan, if you have a elevation, if you have a good understanding, if you have a good understanding, if you have some textures with you, then very very quickly render things. Okay, so yeah, it is quick. Second, there are no rules. Okay, so collage rendering gives you a lot of space to try creativity and be creative as much as possible. Okay, you do not have to your sky could actually be pink. Okay, when you're trying collage rendering, you do not need to follow certain constraints about this is the size of my tree, this is the kind of tree I should be using, I should have this kind of an environment, this kind of a color, the sun should have so in collage rendering you can use different graphical elements and people understand how collage rendering work. Okay, so you can show your creativity much much better when you are rendering a collage. Okay, and then yeah, when you see those beautiful illustrations, architecture illustrations that you must be seeing a lot on Instagram these days, on our on our feed that we share from people. Okay, so you can do all of that. Okay, if you know how to do this. Okay, and yeah, believe me, that would make your portfolio, that would make your competition sheets look a lot better. Okay, as compared to how it looks right now. Okay, so yeah, there are not a lot of rules that always constrain us in in the work that we do. Okay, or in the kind of presentations that we create. Okay, third, something that I really like is they look sexy. Okay, they look very cool. Okay, on our sheets, your sheet stands out, it looks different. Okay, because others do not, people do not generally try. So, okay, in a classroom of 40 to 60 people, only a couple of them or maybe half a dozen of them would try, and their sheets would definitely look different. Okay, and yeah, look more cool. So yeah, and again, when you have to put something on your portfolio cover, or you want to make sure your portfolio stands out than the rest, so you can definitely go ahead, and if you are good at collage rendering. Okay, and believe me, it does not take a lot of time to be good at this. Okay, you can if you just follow this particular video, things that we teach, take notes and ask doubts, get your doubts cleared. Believe me, you will be able to reproduce this and do your own, render your own drawings. Okay, and make them look much much better very very quickly, and that would, believe me, help you a lot in your portfolios later. Okay, Then, okay, so coming to the benefits again, more benefits about collage rendering is you do not need to model the whole stuff. Okay, so if you want to render just if you just have to visualize the plan or a particular view, just have to create only that much. It could be a line drawing. You just need a line drawing. It could be a section. It could be elevation. It could be a plan that you've already created, and then you can convert it into a good looking visual. A 3D kind of, you can also do it a 3D kind of an effect. Okay, you can render it better. Okay, so yeah, all you need is a 2D drawing, nothing else, and you do not need to model the whole thing, model the environment, trees, and all of that stuff. Because that we need to do, put our furnitures, put all of all the different things, and human beings and trees, and maybe cars, and create the whole environment, and so that is not required. Okay, you just need to focus on a particular corner that you need to visualize. That is the most important part in your drawing. Focus on that, and then you can quickly render that so that your design looks good. Okay, so yeah, no, so these are some of the really good illustrations that you'll find on Instagram, but they are not our works. These are works of different people on different uh, artists, and architects who are good at illustrations. Okay, you will find so you have tried so you will find these on our we have reshared these on our channels also. So do you see how different all of these different are, these are all different types of collage renders. Okay, and you see how each one has a different style to it. Okay, and how you can create your own style. Okay, and if you keep you creating that kind of illustration over and over again, you'll have a good following on on these social media platforms if you want that. And believe me, having a good following, if you have if you have more, if you can you should always show the work that you should always self market. Okay, so if you are creating a render like this, it looks beautiful, should always show it on put it up on Instagram or whatever software that, or whatever platform that you use. Okay, you should always self promote yourself. Okay, so you can do that, and you see how all of these have different styles. Okay, so if if you are good at one particular style, so different people. So in the past we have tried this style. Okay, we have tried a lot of this style in the past of our sessions. Tonight we'll be trying trying something like this. Okay, something similar to this, that that would look good as a 3D also. Okay, so we'll try something like that. So you can create your own style when you are doing collage rendering. So when you're rendering it out of V-Ray or Lumion, it is not possible to create your own style, and you will not your portfolio might not stand out. But if you have a style of collage rendering that you're following throughout your academics, or that you are keeping on improving throughout your career, that would definitely that would create your own style in in architectural rendering. Okay, and it would help you stand out as an individual for a for an internship, for a job, for whatever it is that you plan to do. Okay, but yeah, you can create your own style. Creating your own identity and your own style is very easy using collage rendering, but very difficult, because V-Ray and in Lumion you have settings that everyone has. You do not have a lot of scope for creativity and playing doing things in your own style. Here you have that style. Okay, and you keep on using a particular style in your sheets. Believe me, just within a semester your teacher will just seeing your sheet, they will recognize, okay, this is the work of a person A, or this is the work of Gajodhar, or Bunty, or who that person is. Okay, so yeah, so you can create your own identity, you can create your own style if you're using collage rendering. Okay, next. Okay, so they are very, it is very easy. Like I said, it is not very difficult to create and learn how to create collage renders, good visuals. So there are very simple basic elements that are there in every kind of collage rendering that you need to put a focus on. Okay, take a note of all these all these elements. Just have a good consideration of these things while you're creating that render, and believe me, your render would look good. First, the textures, the images that you'll be using for your building. Okay, or for your background. Okay, so first you need to have a good you need to understand what kind of textures you need to put, what kind of material you need to show in your visual. Okay, so first, that is very important. You need to have a good understanding of textures, and you have where to get your textures from. And people, there are a lot of other websites where you can get your textures from. Okay, so sketchuptextures.com, which give you seamless textures. Okay, and there are hundreds of other websites. Okay, believe me, for me, I do not even go to all those websites. I just pick up textures from Google or Pinterest and directly use them in your designs, because yeah, you can do that. You can I can easily do that. I know how to how to edit them so that it looks good on Photoshop. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. You don't have to focus a lot also on finding good textures. Okay, you can create them, or you can just use simple images that you find just on a Google results on Pinterest. Okay, so yeah, Pinterest again a good source of inspiration when you want to create collage renders. Okay, Then next comes environment. In collage rendering, it is very very important how do you create your environment, how do you set your environment up. Okay, that is the most important thing in a collage render. Okay, so because when we actually render, it is very difficult to model a bus, model a car, model trees, put trees. It becomes heavy, it becomes takes a lot of time to render. But in it is collage rendering is quick because you can just pick up elements from internet, from all these websites, and start using them in your render like you would want, and it looks beautiful. Okay, so it is very very important how what kind of environment you set up. You can there are different elements using which you set up your environment. The sky, the sun, the grass, the trees, the background, the foreground, people, cars, any planters, a lot of other things that you see around you. Okay, all of these, you just need to have images of these things, and then you use it in your render to create an environment around it. And that is something that that this collage rendering helps you with. Okay, while if you want to do it using the normal method, you would have to model it out, find a model, put it, and then render it every different time, see what kind of material works on what kind of thing. So here it is very quick. You already see how it would look. You already know by seeing the image how it would look on a visual, and then you just directly use it. Okay, third, aspect ratio. Okay, so you need to make sure when you're using your textures, you do not you working on right aspect ratios. Okay, so when you're using a brick, make sure that it is in the perfect ratio like bricks are generally. Okay, so yeah, you just have to have a good you put a good consideration if you're using a brick facade on a building. Okay, just understand what kind of scale the brick should have, so it should look on your building. Okay, do not just put see an image and directly put it. Okay, it should also work with the scale of the drawing. Okay, so yeah, you need to resize your texture accordingly and then use it. Okay, next comes color palette. Okay, you also need to have a good understanding what kind of colors would look good. Okay, and yeah, you can for beginners just look at inspirations from Instagram, for Pinterest, and then try to create similar kind of color palette in your design. Okay, pick some similar kind of colors and try to create something similar. Okay, and we as architects, we already have a good understanding of what colors look good together. Okay, so yeah, do that. Next, cutouts again are elements that help you set up your environment. Okay, so you need to create cutouts of the element that you will be using. So we'll see how do you create cutouts of images that you get from Google. Okay, so yeah, how do you remove the background, how do you make it a individual element, and how do you use it in your whole setup to create a whole environment around it. Okay, so we'll be seeing that. The next last step is breathing space, or the blank space that you have in your whole scene. Okay, that again is very very important. You do not always fill your whole scene with elements. You also uh, you also need to understand how blank space or how empty space works. Okay, that because again makes your design look more professional, more yeah, much better. Okay, so it is very very important that you also understand how how where do you leave blank spaces. You have breathing spaces around your different elements. You do not clutter things on one of the corners, or put a lot of things. So yeah, you have to have a good understanding if you want to create more professional minimal looking renders. Okay, next, okay, so there are a lot of not there are different types of collage renders, or architectural illustrations that you would found that you will find on Instagram, or on Pinterest. Okay, so some of them have hard edge. When I say hard edge, okay, the textures, or the materials, the elements, they do not merge in the background. Then there are soft edge where these things merge with the background. Okay, and then it it looks yeah, it looks more soft. Third, where you also so one element that that should have been here in elements also is shadows. Okay, so you also put minimal shadows on there are different ways to put shadows. Okay, we'll try to see some of them tonight. Okay, we'll starting with the actual thing in a couple of minutes. Okay, so yeah, you need to have uh, you also have put some kind of shadow so that there is more depth to it, so that your render looks more realistic. Okay, and sometimes there are renders in which people use create actually actually create a mosaic kind of effect with different images that they have that they have collected. Okay, so yeah, that again is a way to create collage render by you have a lot of images, and then you create a kind of a mosaic kind of an effect using them. Okay, that does not look a lot more professional, but yeah, that again is a more a very creative way. So if you want to find your own style of creating architecture illustrations or renders to create your identity, in that case you can definitely try any one of these things, and try to improve on that itself. Okay, so me because we do a lot of workshops, we try to teach a lot of students, we try keep on trying different things every time. Okay, so we do not stick to one thing. But yeah, for you guys, I would just try to see a lot of different renders on Pinterest, on Instagram. Try to see which one do you like more, and then try to create similar kind of things more and more. It becomes your identity, and you improve a lot on that style. Okay, So yeah, that is what people generally do who are good at architecture illustrations or collage renders or renders generally. Okay, they pick a particular style and then they try to improve on it. Okay, so these are these are some again some really good collage renders that you can say that we have picked up from Pinterest. Okay, so do you see how they make sure that the different elements, and they're very simple. Okay, in this one there's a simple elevation, and then they have just put a mountain in the background, and they have tried to make the whole scene one thing, to make them look good together. They have put a background or circle behind it. Okay, so that all of it seems to belong to one particular visual or one particular render. Okay, so yeah, sometimes you use elements like this so that you bind different elements that you have used in your design. You see how it would have been such a simple elevation like this. So what they have done is they have used a texture, and created a reflection of the whole elevation and put a mountain in the background, remove the background, put a circle, and make sure it looks as one. Okay, again here there's a building elevation, then they have just put some textures, some trees, some kind of mountain thing masked it inside a circle. Again, birds, trees, people walking, people standing here, people walking on that particular level. And how this visual looks so good, so interesting, so dramatic. And there's not it does not require you to create a lot of all of these things you need to create yourself on your model and then render it to make it look like this. No, you can create all this thing very quickly. Okay, if you have a good just a line drawing, you can create all of this thing, this whole design, just in half 20-30 minutes. Okay, this whole visual you can create in less 20 to 30 minutes, or less than 20 minutes if you have good practice. Okay, and you have your texture sorted out. Okay, yeah, again this one, do you see how it was just a 3D from SketchUp, and then you have just put some textures on top of it, a background, some birds, some people, and it looks a 3D. It gives a very 3D kind of a feel because they have used the circle from here to here, and this whole element comes outside of it. Okay, so it again gives this a very 3D kind of an effect. And again, there do you see how they have used elements, a girl riding a cycle, sun, some birds, and it all of this looks good together. Okay, these again on some other examples that you would find. Okay, so that make it look more 3D. Again, this was just a simple 2D drawing, and you can very quickly make it look as beautiful, aesthetically pleasing like this. Okay, these are again some other examples of collage. And you see in this one there's a section. So even I used to create sections like this in my college when I had less time, because when you want to create a 3D section which visually looks good, which gives a better understanding of how the space would look like. Okay, otherwise we generally create our sections on AutoCAD and then just put it. They do not actually give a clear idea of how would the space be used. Okay, so what this person here could have, I'm not very sure if they have actually rendered this model, the whole thing, and rendered. But what you can generally do is, what I used to do is, I used to just have grab screenshot of an interior for Google from Google, and just snip that out, crop that out, and put it inside my sections. Okay, so that you have this kind of an effect. Okay, and you could have just had this black and white section diagram, and these are all just images that you have superimposed on that. Okay, and that again, doing that again is a very simple way, quick way to create beautiful looking 3D sections. Okay, so yeah, we'll see how to do that as well. Okay, so just give me a minute. Okay, so that is all with the boring presentation that we had. Okay, okay, so just give me a minute. Okay, so we'll start with Photoshop work. Okay. Okay, perfect. Let's go to you know I hope you guys start have started seeing my Photoshop. Okay, so what we'll start doing is, we will I'll bring in so I have collected a couple of textures. Okay, a couple of them I have made myself. Making textures again is a very simple thing. It does not is not a a very big thing. Okay, so if we have time towards the end, I'll show you guys how have I made those textures. Okay, otherwise I've just picked some elements from internet, and I've just created a simple a very simple 3D line 3D line drawing. Okay, we'll be using that and rendering that. Okay, so just give me a minute. So I'm just dragging and dropping my image that we'll be using tonight. Okay, so how do you do these things is very very simple. First, what I had done is, for people who do not know Photoshop, so do we have, can you tell me on the chat if we have a lot of people who do not know anything about Photoshop? So I will make it a more basic thing. I'll start from the very basics. Or if you have people who know, if you know Photoshop a bit, the basics of Photoshop, write yes on the chat. If you do not, write no on the chat. In that case, I'll go from the basics, okay, from the very beginning. Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, so there is a bit of lag. Okay, so so I'll just keep on. Okay, so you guys know a bit of Photoshop. Okay, so I do not need to go from the very basics. Okay, it's okay, completely fine, great. Okay, really really good. Okay, so yeah, this is the simple line drawing that we have, and we'll try to make this a very beautiful 3D kind of a visual. Okay, so firstly, whenever you bring image on Photoshop, okay, do you see on the layer? So this is our interface of how Photoshop, this is how the Photoshop interface looks like. On the right hand side, you generally have the layers panel. If you're on the photography viewing section, or the viewing panel, and you have tools here, so we'll just be using the layer panel here, the tools here, and a couple of other things from the top, okay, from the menu bar. Okay, and I'll tell you what are we using and when. Okay, so whenever you bring an image, you see how you cannot edit a lot because it is not rasterized yet. Okay, so how do you rasterize it is, right click, go to rasterize layer, and you can rasterize it. Okay, or you can set up your own, you can go to file, sorry, edit, go to keyboard shortcuts and create your own keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so to rasterize my images, I have a control alt R setup. I have a shortcut that I've set up that helps me easily rasterize my images. Okay, so yeah, this is how my image looks like right now. What I need to first do is I need to remove the background from this image. Okay, do you see it has a white kind of a background? Okay, so how do I remove background? I need to select the white part from my image, and then I need to delete it. Okay, so there are different ways to select, like I said. Okay, Photoshop is a very very powerful tool, and there are 1,000 different ways to do any task, any particular thing you need to do on Photoshop. There are 1,000 different ways to do that on Photoshop. Okay, so it is very much possible that I will tell you a way and you already know a different way to do that. Okay, so you can keep on continuing using the way that is more convenient to you. Okay, so I'll be telling the way that is more convenient to me. Okay, so yeah, to remove backgrounds like this, I generally use the magic wand tool. Okay, it comes by pressing W. When you press W and you are on that particular area, you can just click on this, and it selects everything that is of a single color without any border edges. Okay, so right now what it has done is it has selected all of this white area. Okay, which is not separated by a boundary. When I click over here, okay, that is how the magic wand tool works. Okay, so W is the shortcut for magic wand tool, or you can go to this toolbar here, and this is how the magic wand tool looks like. Okay, click on the magic wand tool, select it, and then just press delete. Okay, so now if I press delete, and I have a white background layer, so it is not it is not clear if I've deleted or not. So if I can just hide my background layer to check. Now I see how my background is deleted. Okay, now I only have this much part of my image. Okay, so yeah, so this is what I wanted. Okay, what else I'll do? I'll make it a bit smaller so that we have more space to create our. I'll try to maybe put it somewhere here. Align it with the center also. Yeah, this is kind of to at the center, and yeah, this is how I want to place my drawing here, to actually go ahead and start rendering it, putting in texture. Okay, so the image, this whole image is I have created a new file, 1200 cross 1200. Okay, you can create a new file by pressing Control N, or file new, and that is how you create a new file. So I have just created a 1200 plus 1200 a new project, and then I put this image over here, remove the background, and now we are here. Okay, so what we'll start doing is, first we'll start putting our textures in in these areas. Okay, in all of these different sides wherever we want to put our material. Okay, we'll start with that, then we'll try to we'll start putting the background, the ground, and then we'll try to put in more and more elements on our collage. Okay, and we'll try to complete all of this in the so since I'm explaining it to you, so we'll take around 45 minutes to complete this, I guess. 45 minutes to 1 hour. But yeah, if you're doing it, if I'm doing it on my own, it would hardly take me 15-20 minutes to do all of this thing. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so what we'll do now is, once this is set up, what I'll do is I'll create, what I need to do is I need to put my textures on these different sides. Okay, texture here, texture this part, texture on this part, all of these parts. Okay, so I'll just create separate layers for all of these different sides, so that I can very easily align my texture later and crop it in that particular shape. Okay, so what I need to do is create a separate layer for all of the other sides. Okay, where I want to put different textures, or different scale of texture. Okay, so this is one side where I know I would want a similar kind of texture. This is one side. This, on the top, the texture could be the same, but yeah, it would have a different angle. Okay, on top it would be, aligned here. On the, on this is the front part, this is the top part. Okay, so this here it would be aligned different. On the side it would be aligned different. On this side also it would be aligned different. Okay, so yeah, we'll pick these, these different parts of our drawing and create new layers out of them. Okay, how do you do that? Okay, again, go to the magic wand tool. Okay, press on the side that you want. So do you see how, we have a dotted line around it? So now it has, this part selected. Okay, if you see, in detail, you have this part selected. Okay, so when you press W, it selects that. Okay, now I'll just press Control J. Okay, what Control J does is creates a new layer out of the selection that you had done. Okay, do you see a new layer was created on the right hand side? What I did was, I'll just repeat. Okay, I pressed W to bring my magic wand tool, clicked on this particular side, and then I pressed Control J. Okay, that created a new layer with that selection. Okay, and I want to call this layer, maybe, this is our main building, this is our back building, this is our top building. Okay, so this is the front part of our main building. So I'll just write it, front of main building. Okay, FM. Okay, so next, again, I'll go back to my previous layer. I want to select this part. Okay, I'll click W, press on W, select this part. I'll press Control J again, and rename this layer as, side of main building, SM maybe. Okay, go to this, the layer. If you're on this layer, and if you keep selecting it, it would not select, because there is nothing apart from, on this layer there's nothing apart from this part. Okay, on this layer there's nothing apart from this part. Okay, so yeah, if you want to select the other things, you need to be back on the same layer, where your drawing is. Okay, so I want to, maybe select this part. Okay, so I'll call this interior top maybe. Okay, I'll just press Control J and I'll call this, top interior. Okay, go back to here. This I'll just call, maybe side interior. Okay, Command J, Control J, Command J for Mac, Control J for Windows. I'll just call it, side interior. Okay, and I'll go to this layer again, press go over here, make this get. So I'm really very sorry guys if this part seems boring, but yeah, this part is again the most important part when you're creating your own, when you're creating with it. Okay, so you need to understand, you need to first very clearly make these layers separate and then put your textures on top of it. Okay, so yeah, this one I'll, again, I'll keep on, doing this for all the different parts, and I'll name them, choosing a nomenclature. So this one I would call them maybe IG. Okay, or a gate interior. Okay, so this is kind of a gate for me. Okay, go to this again, select, this part, Control J. I'll call it, front of the top building, maybe FT. Okay, okay, now we have these, back two parts remaining. So I'll select this part, this I'll, again, Control J, and maybe I'll call it, what do I call it? Maybe I'll call it, front of back building, FB. Okay, and this I will call maybe, again, I'll select this, press Control J, and I'll call this side of back building. Okay, SB. Okay, yeah, if I just, if I just, hide my, layer, the main drawing layer, I'll see this, I have just created all of these separate layers. Okay, and I have all of this. So what I need to just do now is I need to just, bring in my textures, place over them, crop it in this much, align them and crop them. Okay, to this much area. Okay, so just, so these are, some basic things. Okay, how do you select things in Photoshop? Selecting things, different things, is one thing that you need to learn, and there are different ways. Okay, so magic wand is one way, and there are different ways. I'll be showing you more and more ways while we move ahead. Okay, so how do you select different parts of a drawing on Photoshop? That is one thing. Second, how do you align your textures to different things? Okay, that is the second thing. Okay, and then, the third thing could be, how do you compose all of these things? Okay, that again is a very, very important part. Okay, how do you make it look more and more dramatic, make it look more and more interesting? Okay, so yeah, so we have had, we had done a lot of selection. Now we'll go to, doing a lot of, bringing in a lot of textures and everything. Okay, so I'll just bring the texture that I've selected for this part. So this is a texture that I just, created, last night very quickly. Okay, creating this kind of a texture does not take a lot of time. Okay, so this is the texture that I have created. Okay, and we'll be putting this texture on top of our building. Okay, and creating this kind of texture does not take a lot of time. What I've done here is I have just picked, a grungy kind of a texture from Google, put so again, one more thing that you need to learn on Photoshop is how do you blend different layers and how do you play with the opacity and blending mode of different layers. That is also something that we'll be doing tonight. Okay, aligning, selecting parts, and cropping parts, aligning parts, and then blending layers. Okay, using brushes, blending layers, creating, using the opacity part. Okay, so this is how, this is the blending option of every layer. Okay, on the top here, this is the opacity part of every layer. Okay, and how does that this blending option here, the normal, dissolve, all of this you see on the right hand side on top of the layers is how does your layer interact with the layers below it. Okay, so you need to understand that also. Okay, so yeah, so I have used, I have just created this by using, orange color on top of that grunge, and then created these rectangles, put a more orange layer, and then created this texture very easily, using different opacity properties and blending properties. So if we have time towards the end, I'll show you guys how I've done that. Okay, how I've done this. Okay, so yeah, we'll be using this as the primary texture, to put here, okay, on the main building. Okay, because it will make our building look very, very interesting. Okay, so it could, it could have been a brick texture, and a simple brick texture could have used that. Could have been a simple concrete texture, and you could have used that. Okay, but just to make it more look more interesting, more dramatic, I'm using this. And believe me, if you use something, create textures like this again, that would make your designs or visuals look much, much interesting. Do you see again, how this is not rasterized? It has this smart object symbol. So how do you rasterize it? Right click it, click on rasterize layer. If you do not have, keyboard shortcut setup. Okay, so I have to use this texture once here, once here, once here, and once here, 4 times. Okay, I'll just create, multiple copies. How do you? I'll just, call it. I'll just create copies of it by pressing Control J. Okay, Control J creates new layer of, of whatever is selected. Okay, even if you have a selection, or you can just, right click and duplicate layer from here also. Okay, so every layer property you will find by right clicking your, layer and then doing it. So yeah, I have shortcuts for that. You will, Photoshop has a default shortcut Control J that you can use to create copies of any particular layer or any kind of selection. Okay, so I want to make 4 copies of this texture. Okay, so I'll just, press Control J 4 times, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so yeah, I have, 4 of them, and now I want to, align this. I want to bring all of these to the top. Okay, so Control Shift and, close. You can just, shift it like this to the top. Okay, this again is a good way. Okay, or you can use, there's a way to do that. One way to do that is Control Shift and closing angular bracket. Okay, that brings your layer to the top. Or Control Shift open bracket takes it to the bottom, most bottom, and close takes it to the top. Okay, do you see how I can do that? Okay, this is the top layer. I want to move it to the very bottom. I'll just press Control Shift open angular bracket, Control Shift close angular bracket, bring it back to the top. Okay, so yeah, now what I need to do is align this thing to this side. Okay, to this side. Okay, how do you align things on Photoshop? Okay, first make sure, it has covered the area, and it is of the exact size, the exact scale that you want. Okay, so so that, when you resize things, when you select any element, you have these, transformation controls towards its ends. Okay, so if you just, stretch it like this, it does not stick to its aspect ratio. Okay, so while stretching it, make sure you have pressed Shift and then stretched. Okay, so that it sticks to the aspect ratio that it had. Okay, and now, press Enter. Okay, now you have this thing, and now I want to align this to that particular side. Okay, what I'll do is I'll click on one of these transformation controls. Okay, I'll click on one of these, right click, and I'll go, and I could use distort, or skew, or whatever I want. Okay, so I'll be using skew tonight. Okay, I'll only be using skew tonight. So skew gives me an option to align, and make sure you can, and distort your image in, whatever angle you want, in 90 degrees, or in particular line. Okay, so I'll click on skew. Okay, and then, I'll first go to, something like this. Okay, you have this, this facade is looks something like this. Okay, I want to first, make it smaller. So this facade is from here to here. Okay, and yeah, something like this is exact 90 degree, and yeah, something like this works. Okay, so I'll zoom in and make sure that, it is at the perfect spot. Okay, it is angular. First I'll try to make sure it is at perfect 90 degree, and then I'll make sure that it has, it has covered the exact area. Okay, now this does, this does seem to, cover the whole area. On the top, it is a bit of it is, missing. So I'll just, make sure that it covers the whole of it. Okay, make sure the angles, the corners are properly adjusted. Okay, so now I have this, properly aligned. Now I'll press Enter, and I have that image in that particular shape. Okay, now I want to remove the extra part. Okay, that was not on that particular facade. How do I do that is, So which was the side that we had created? It was front main. Okay, front main. Okay, so I want to just select. Okay, so if I just hide this, you see this is the, if I control press on this, on the front main layer. Okay, I'll control press on this small icon here. What it does is it selects what the area on that particular layer. Okay, so once I have control pressed in Mac, command press on Windows, control press on this area, it selects this particular area. Okay, and if I'm on this, have be keep yourself on the main, on the texture layer, control press on this icon here, and you have that area selected. Okay, so what you need to do is you have to delete everything that is not in this selection area. So what you need to do is invert your selection. Okay, now if I press delete, what will happen is it will delete whatever was in that selection. Okay, I do not want to do that. What I need to do is I want to delete whatever is not in that selection. So for that you need to inverse your selection. Okay, inverse your selection being on that same layer. So inversing your selection is control shift I. Okay, control shift I to inverse your selection. Okay, so now what I've done is everything apart from that area is selected. Okay, do you see here on the whole screen? Now if I press delete, it deletes everything else apart from that particular area. Okay, and yeah, this is something how we wanted it. Okay, and yeah, I can press enter and control D to deselect. Okay, so it is still it has still kept that area selected. If you want to deselect this area, control D. Okay, now so yeah, so I have my facade on this area. Now I want to similarly create this kind of an effect on this side, on this side, on this side. Okay, so yeah, I'll bring one here. I'll just repeat the whole process. Okay, so if you have a confusion, do not worry, I'll be repeating the processes a couple of times. Okay, make sure it covers the whole thing properly, otherwise it would not look as good as it should. Okay, something like this. Okay, yeah, something like this works. Okay, now I go here, I'll click on skew, and I'll try to skew it to the part we have. Okay, I'm not very sure. Okay, so I might have to bring this closer to the building that we have. So this is okay, this is where our building ends. Okay, I keep it here. I'll bring this down to okay, this is, so what I want to do here is I'll just escape. Once I press escape, it goes back to normal because I had not pressed enter. Okay, any change takes place when you press enter. Okay, so what I need to do is, what I'll do is I'll just remove some part of this texture. Okay, because this side is not, I do not want this side to be as big as this side. Okay, so what I'll do is, how do you remove just some part of this? Okay, so how do you do it is, like I mentioned, you have different ways to select things. One of the ways is the mark you tool. Okay, do you see these dotted lines? That is again one way, rectangular mark you tool. You can bring that by pressing M. Okay, so while I'm on this layer, I'll just select this part of the texture. Okay, this much part, or maybe yeah, this much part of the texture, or just this part of the texture, this much part of the texture, and I want to remove rest of it. Okay, so I'll again press Control Shift I, that it selects the remaining part, and I press delete. Okay, so it removes the rest, and yeah, I have this part with me. Okay, now I want to make sure, I want to align this whole thing with the region that we want to align it to, or the facade that we want to align it to. Okay, okay, one other thing that we can do here is, okay, so one other thing that we could have done is, I'll just Control Z back to where we were. Okay, Control D is, we could have we could just reverse this whole thing so that it looks like a continuation of this whole thing. Okay, so how do you reverse your texture? Okay, you just click here, click on any of these transformation controls, right click and go flip horizontal. Okay, now it has flipped the whole texture horizontally. Now do you see, if I place it here, it looks like a continuation of the texture. Okay, so this again is a good way. Okay, and now I can now I can press enter, and I can remove some part of this texture. Okay, so how do I remove some part of this texture? Is I'll just go to mark you tool by pressing M, select this much part of the from the layer. Okay, uh, and yeah, or select more of it. Actually select this much part of the layer, and go Control Shift I, delete maybe. Okay, Control D to deselect, bring it to where I wanted it. Okay, place it on your layer. Okay, like this, increase it to the exact size so that it does not it does not miss anything. Okay, and it is properly aligned to the other side also. Okay, and now again, now what we need to do is click here, right click, go to skew, make sure it is only till the part where you want it, and then align it, and then bring it down. Okay, something like this. Okay, you want this to look something like this. Okay, Yeah, something like this kind of works. Give me a minute. You have a smaller thing like this, and then you go right click, skew it, because if I start skewing from this end, it elongates this end, okay, but I want to elongate this end, not this end, okay. So yeah, this is what I would do instead. Is I would create it like this, create it something like this, so something like this, this is the angle that you want, okay. On the top, you see, this is, I want to cover everything, make sure it covers the exact angle at the bottom. See, check all the corners, okay. And on the top, we have the angle here, okay. This is the angle. Do you see this thing at the top? This is the building angle, okay. That one we want to capture, that be straight and capture that, okay. Something like this works, okay. Something like this kind of works. And I try to maybe shift it a bit to the right, so that, yeah, something like this, so it is proper. Shift it a bit down in case I'm missing some part, okay. You just have to, you do not need to spend so much time, okay. I just wanted to make sure it is perfect, okay. I'll press enter, okay. I just want to delete the part that does not belong to that particular, so I'll just, side main building, command press on this icon here. It just selects the part that is there in the building, and it, no, I'll just press Control Shift I to select the remaining part, delete it, okay. And this is how it looks, okay. What other thing I know is, what I'll do is, I'll place my sun on this side, okay. So this is facades on the right hand side would be a bit darker compared, because there's not direct light falling on top of it, okay. So how do you, change the, make these make this particular layer more dark, okay. So you use hue saturation over here, okay. The command for that is Control U, okay. I press Control U, and I have this tab come up, and if I'm, if I'm that on that particular layer, I can just, make it more light, something like this, okay. Something like this works, okay. So this part looks darker compared to the front end, okay. So press Control U, and you can just try different things, how these things work, okay. So yeah, right now I just want to play with the lightness and make it dark compared to the front side, okay. Something like this, okay. Maybe, -30 works. Press OK, and yeah, we have it there, okay. Now I want to create, similarly put it here and on top of that, okay. So yeah, I'll just quickly go and, do that also. Something like this, and I can go skew it in the, in the way I want. This is how this kind of does, okay. This kind of works for this particular side, okay. This is the right alignment, okay. I'll just go to, uh, side interior, select this, command shift I, delete the rest, okay. Again, so we have, this is how we wanted it. I want to make it, a bit more darker again, because here also direct light does not fall, okay. So I'll just press Control U, go to the lightness saturation, and make it again, a bit darker, okay. Something like this, okay. Something like this works for this side for me, okay. Okay. Again, I want to do similar thing for the top, okay. So for the top, again, I'll, bring this image, okay. Bring this like this. Maybe I'll just, bring this layer to the top, press enter, and bring this layer to the top, so that I have, it is easy for me to, you know so to align this thing, you have to, do you see how you want to align this thing? You want to make sure this aligns and it falls like this, okay. So yeah, put, make sure it looks something like this, and then you start aligning your, thing. Skew, go to the top like this. This you want to, maybe go something like this, go to the top like this. Just have to, you have to make sure that the angles are proper, okay. Something like this works, okay. So if you have something like this is how it would actually look like, okay. Yeah, this is the kind of angle we want to give to our, final texture, okay. Now this kind of angle works, okay. Make sure the edges are proper, you do not miss any part. Press enter, go to the top interior layer, select that, command shift I, select the rest, delete it, Control D so that you have this layer selected. Press Control U so that you can make it darker. Okay, this could be the this could be the most darker layer. Okay, because no, there is very less light falling on top. Okay, so something like this would work for you. Okay, okay, okay. So this works for the top. This is how our, now do you see how it starts looking interesting already? Okay, so now I'll bring some other textures for this gate. I'll bring a texture for this top. All of these different elements, I'll start bringing textures. Okay, give me a minute. I have some some very simple textures that we have created for so this again is a very simple glass texture that I have created on my own. Okay, so we'll be using this one for you know so what I can do right now is I can call these I can merge these layers actually, this one and top these, because these are the same layers. Okay, and I can call them top TI. So you can if you want to keep your Photoshop file very organized, you can just remove all of these other layers that you have. You can just call this front main and delete this one. Okay, you can call this side main and delete this one. You can call this one side interior and delete this one. Okay, and yeah, you have, what have we called this, top interior. Okay, so we have all of this selected, and yeah, in this layer again I'll just rasterize this one. Okay, so we'll be using this here. Okay, I'll bring some more textures, a texture that will be actually using throughout. Okay, so I'll be using this grunge texture on the background, and I'll be using, okay, we'll bring a background later. Okay, so we'll be using this wood cladding uh, in our in our back, on our back building. We'll see how we can make it make it more colorful. Other thing, let's use this thing. Okay, this is kind of a it is kind of a it could be a texture. If we change the color, it could look like a concrete texture. Okay, it could look like that. Okay, so yeah, we'll use this on this part here. Okay, so we'll be using these three textures to complete our rest of the building. Okay, so yeah, this one for this part. Okay, right now. Okay, so I'll just bring it here. First thing, you know uh, I'll just rasterize these two layers also. Then I come back to here. I'll just reduce this in size. Okay, place it accordingly at the bottom over here. Press enter, go here, right click on skew. Again these are some simple same things that I'm repeating again and again. Okay, so yeah, depending upon how much scale you want, this is the kind of scale I would like on this particular part. Okay, so yeah, I'll just make sure that none of it is press enter. Okay, I'll go to the gate interior. Okay, this layer, I'll keep myself on this particular layer. Control press, while just go to click on control press on that particular icon. Okay, so that area is selected. Control shift I to select the rest of the file, rest of the texture apart from this, and click delete. Okay, so now we have it here. But this one we want it if we want it more darker or something in a different color, dark color, because this color does not match with this. Okay, so there is this quick way of inversing the color of any particular layer. Okay, so here we'll use that. Okay, so how do you do that? Is just pressing control I. Okay, if I just press control I here, it inverses the color. Do you see how it had since it was bluish and white, now it is brown and black. Okay, and how did I do this? By just pressing control I. Okay, or right click and inverse colors. Okay, so it very easily now it it matches with this whole building. Okay, so yeah, a very quick way to make sure your textures look good. They look good. Okay, so now we'll be using this thing to as a texture over here. Okay, so yeah, so what I'll do is I'll make multiple copies, because I'll be using on the side and on the front also. Okay, and since I want it it is a very small texture, I want it to be of if I use it right now, do you see the boxes? If I align it, the wooden panels would, the scale would not be proper. Okay, so what I would do is I'll elongate this texture, make one more copy of this by pressing control J. Now I have multiple copies at the same spot. Shift move this here. Okay, make sure they are joined like this, and I'll just make sure these are joined. You press them and I'll press control E. Okay, command E or control E on Windows. What that does, it merges two layers. Okay, so do you see now these were two layers initially. Now if I press control E, it merges both of them into one single layer. Okay, so yeah, this is the kind of texture it would bring proper scale. So what I'll do is I'll just make one more copy, so that we have one for the front also. I'll just control J to make a copy. I'll put it aside, okay, and I'll just use this place it over here, and I'll try to align it with our with our whole building, okay. So what we can do here is I'll just go to first things first. We need to skew them, okay. Skew and align it with the, so that the perspective is proper, okay. Having the perfect perspective is the game here okay, in collage render. So believe me, you need to do that, okay. Your perspective should be proper, your alignment should be proper. That is something you need to understand and keep doing, okay. Yeah, so this is the kind of alignment that I would want, okay. So something, I'll just press enter over here. I'll go to the side of the back building, okay, SB, okay. I'll command press here, control press here, it selects that area. I'll control shift I and I'll delete, okay. So we have that texture only in that area, but you see how this color does not match. We do not want this color, okay. How do we change the color, okay. So similarly, just keep that layer selected, control U, press control U, command U on Mac, okay. You have this U saturation thing, drop box pop up, okay, dialog box pop up. In this, just change the color, okay. Just change the color like you would want it. So we want it a bit a bit brownish, and we want reduce the saturation to make it a bit look more dark or something like this, okay. So it gives a kind of a concrete kind of a feel, or concrete shutters or that kind of a feel, okay. A cladding, concrete cladding kind of a feel, okay. So you can depending upon what kind of color you want, you can remove, decrease, play with the saturation, okay. Increasing saturation adds color, decreasing saturation makes it, or brings it on the grayscale, okay. Change the color like you want. So we want a brownish kind of a tint, a brown, yeah, brownish kind of a tint which comes here, and I want to make it dark, okay. So it looks more like concrete, okay. Something like this works for me, okay. So yeah, I'll just press OK here, okay. So it works, that is created. This one, I'll just align this to this part of our building here, okay. uh, so it is proper. I'll just right click, I'll just click on one of the transformation controls, and then right click, and you'll find skew, okay. Sometimes if you just right click, you will not find that option to skew distort. How that option comes up is, you select this thing, click on one of the transformation controls, and then right click to skew, okay. And now you can go ahead and start skewing your building like you want, okay. So this is the kind of skew that would work for this case, okay. This one, something like this, something like this, you can skew it more so that it aligns well with this kind of texture, okay. The scale is proper on both the sides, okay. Yeah, something like this. Now the scale is proper. Now I'll press enter, okay. It is there. I'll press the front of the back building, control press on the icon there, so that it selects that particular area. Control shift I, delete, and we have it area, we have it there, okay. And I can just name this to be front of the back building, FB, okay. And this one to be side of back building, SB, okay. So that I can remove, delete these two layers, because those are not required, and we want to keep our layer very organized, okay. Now I want to change color of this. I'll just press, go to control U, make it more brownish, something like this, and make it a bit dark, but not as dark as the back layer, because backside would be more darker, because there's no direct sunlight falling on top of it, okay. Something like this, but not as dark as the back layer, okay. So yeah, this is something, this is how on this layer I want to bring this texture, okay. And I'll make it gray so that it looks a lot more like concrete, okay. So first thing what I'll do is I'll just put my layer over there, okay. Something like this works, okay. Now I want to skew this, okay. So I'll just press enter, click on this arrow, right click, skew, and I would skew this, so do something like this, okay. Something like this works, okay. This is the kind of skew we would want, okay. I'll just make sure it has a lot of texture on top of it. I'll press enter. I'll go to the so gate interior, this layer also we can delete, and call this the GI layer, okay. So this is the side interior, okay. So this is the FT, okay. So I'm keeping myself on this layer, okay, on this on the green concrete layer. I'll press control press on this icon so that it selects that area. Control shift I, delete, okay. Now I have it selected over there. Control D to deselect it. Now I'll press Control U to change its color, to make it, more look like, more dark. Okay, so I'll increase the saturation, something like this. Okay, I'll make it more darker, something like this should work. It does give it a more, concrete kind of an effect. Okay, something like this. So yeah, something like this works for now. We'll add shadows and make, we'll make this more look more we'll make all of this look more and more interesting by adding more shadows later. Okay, so yeah, right now do you see how, our whole building is created? I can just delete this layer also, call this, ft. Just, when you want to change the name, you can right click rename, or, just press on the name twice, and, you can rename it. Okay, I'll just call this front of top. Okay, ft. And I'll just group all of these into one layer. Okay, I'll just right click on, group layers. Okay, and I'll call this group as my, building materials or something like that. Okay, or I'll call this as my building. Okay, so I have all of that in my building, and I can just remove the background. Okay, that we had. Okay, texture. Okay, or the lines that we had, or you can keep it. Okay, it is completely up to you. You can, I can just go ahead and invert that, so that is, this edge looks more white. It does not look more white actually. Okay, so I'll, yeah, I'll just have it there, right there. Okay, we'll keep it. We'll see what to do about it. Okay, when we finalize our whole environment. Okay, now we need to bring our background environment, bring the ground layer, put in some elements, and make it look more interesting. Okay, now our whole building is set up. Okay, we just need to add shadows, elements, background, and the whole thing. Okay, so yeah, again, I'll go back to my layer. I'll bring this texture. So what we'll be doing, we'll be using this texture on our background. Okay, so yeah, first I'll hide this. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll, create a copy our background layer. Okay, and I'll give this a similar kind of a color, so that we follow the same template. Okay, so how do you change the color, how do you add color? Okay, so when you have on this, when you are on this particular layer, click on this, do you see these color icons here? Go here and choose the color. Okay, so I'll pick a color like this and go orangish version of that, something, a brownish version of that color from the color picker. Click OK, press G. G brings the paint bucket tool, click over it. Okay, so we have that color on the background. Okay, this is the kind of background color we want. Okay, because that would match with the, building colors. This concrete, this orange, this brown. It is a lighter version of all these colors. Okay, so this looks, the whole, and the whole setting would look more interesting. Okay, now the next thing that I need to do is, so we had this, layer on top of that we had brought. Okay, I'll select that layer, Control Alt R to rasterize it. And now what I'll do is I'll, just resize it. Okay, so here, since it is on the background, I'll making sure, working properly with its scale is not required. Okay, you don't need to press shift and align it. Okay, so this is something like this. It would work like this. I can just bring it over here, and now it is and the background, but we want to, make it look more orangish like the background that we had earlier created. Okay, so this is how, this is now comes the blending part. Okay, so how do you blend this with the background, the light brown background that we have? Okay, so I have this layer selected, go to this blending options here, click on multiply. Okay, so multiply kind of gives it an effect, overlay gives it an effect. So I'll just try and see which one I would like. So you can just play with, the different blending options. Okay, which one looks good to you? Okay, so multiply looks good to me, and I'll, further reduce the opacity also, okay, of the background. Okay, so make it maybe 75 or something like this. Okay, yeah, something like 75. Okay, so right now, without with 100% opacity and a normal thing, it looked like this. Okay, I'll just show you guys again. Normal. Okay, I can show you guys on the history thing. Okay, so before, it looked something like this earlier. When I change the blending options and change the opacity, now it looks something like this. Okay, so there's the texture and there's the color that we wanted. Okay, so I brought, this is the history panel over here. You can go here and go back to your, go back to actions like you want. Okay, so this is the kind of background we want. Now I want to make sure, the earth part, the bottom part looks a bit different. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just create a new layer on top of it. So how do you create a new layer is Control Shift N. Okay, and I'll call this as ground. Okay, and what I'll be doing on this layer is I'll just making the ground a bit look like the ground. Okay, or it could be so I have I've just looked for some inspiration on on Pinterest, on so I saw a very quick minimal way to create a ground kind of a feel. Okay, so in this, what we have this layer selected, what we'll do is I'll go to the marquee tool, and I'll first select a part of the ground, something like this. Okay, and right now do you see I have already selected some part of the image itself. I do not want to select that. Okay, so how do you deselect that? Okay, you know when you have this smart cube or selection, any selection tool selected, on top you have different options. Okay, so when you select this and I add something, it adds this to the selection, so both of them are selection. Okay, if I if I'm on this the first option here, it does not it just changes the selection. Okay, something like this, it changed the selection, it removed the earlier selection, added one more selection. We do not want that. What I want to do is I want to remove this part from the selection. Okay, so what I'll do is instead I'll go to this subtract selection, okay, icon over here on the top, and now I'll just make sure that I'll select that part, so it removes that part from my selection. Okay, so yeah, so this is the kind of, yeah, this is the kind of selection I wanted. What I'll do right now is I'll just put a color on top of it. Okay, so I'll choose a darker color. Okay, a dark brown like this. I'll go bring my G tool, and I'll put it over here, something like this. Okay, this is one of the next. I'll just create one more layer, one more layer. I'll just go to this selection here, I'll create one more layer just below it of the same size almost. I'll change my color a bit lighter compared to that. Okay, something like this, and give it that color. Bring my ground tool and give it that color. Okay, again again I'll go to that. I'll create one more layer of, okay, so I have a extra part of it selected. I'll just remove some of the extra thing that I have selected. Yeah, something like this. Go to G, change the color to a bit more lighter tone, and give it. Okay, so yeah, control, I'll just add one more selection, something like this. Okay, sorry, instead of, I had a different tool selected. Yeah, so just repeat and keep on adding these layers. So there are different ways, there are different ways to create these. You can just create these boxes on separate layers, or you can copy these layers and change their opacity. That again is a good way to do it. So it is completely up to you. It is completely up to you what is the methodology that you will be choosing. Okay, G, go here, select a lighter version, paint there. Okay, go to the selection again, okay, so I was on the wrong selection setting. Okay, so yeah, coming back here, put it G, decrease the opacity a bit more. Okay, put it. Okay, command D. Okay, so this is, we have a lot of these layers, but that removes the background that we already have. So what we'll do is again we'll blend it with the background. Okay, so we'll try to put it multiply. Do you see, as soon as I put multiply, it looks more like ground. I know it has some properties of the background texture also, and I can reduce the opacity also, so that it looks something like this. So we can change with play with the opacity later also, but yeah, something like this works for me. Okay, something like this, 83% looks good to me. So yeah, this is how beyond the ground texture, these are background. Now what we need to do is, what we'll do is we'll put some more kind of so we'll try to put more elements in our in our design. Okay, so what are the other elements? Okay, let's start with shadows. Okay, so let me teach you how do you create shadows first. Okay, so what you need to do is, so what we are saying is our sun is some place somewhere over here, the shadow will fall over there or and over here. Okay, and these parts we have already darkened, the side parts, so that we do not need to focus on, but there will be a shadow of this whole thing here, and there will be shadow of this whole thing here. Okay, so we'll be looking at that. Okay, so we'll be creating shadows over there. Okay, so yeah, so how do I go ahead and create shadows? So first I'll create a new layer, control shift N. Okay, so yeah, control shift N. Okay, I press the center, control shift N. Why does control shift on N does not work? Okay, so yeah, I want to create a new layer. I'll just call this shadow. Okay, and I'll put it on top of our building layer. Okay, or building group. Okay, I'll put the building layer below it. Okay, so yeah, this is our shadow layer, and I want to put some shadow. How do I put shadow? So like one way was, how do you select things, is we have seen the magic wand tool, the marquee tool. Another way is using this lasso tool. Okay, so I'll just go to polygonal lasso tool, and I'll just select the area where I think there would be shadow. Okay, so I'm just randomly from the experience that we have. Okay, so I'm trying to create, see how the shadow would look like. Okay, the show shadow would look something like this. Okay, yeah, it would look something like this. Okay, do you see this selection? Something like this. The shadow would fall something like this on this particular building, and here again, here again there would be a shadow of this whole thing on this part. Okay, so I'll add, so since I have already am on the polygonal thing, I'll just select this area also. Okay, from here to here, maybe not very sure from where to where the exact shadow will fall, but yeah, you can take guess. And so now we have that area selected. What I'll do is go to my a brush tool, maybe select a very a black color, and or I can just go to my G tool and add on top of it. Okay, so I have this color over here, but we don't want it as dark. Okay, I can just press Control D, and it is so what I do is I would reduce its opacity and I would blend it with the background again. Okay, so I'll maybe make it multiply. So with multiply it does not works as well, but I'll reduce the opacity. So something like this works. Okay, something like this works, and I can call it maybe overlay, or can play with the blending options that we have. Okay, so overlay works. I can I can play with more, maybe linear burn, or multiply, or reduce the opacity further. So something like this. Okay, so yeah, right now we have we have a shadow following over here, and we have a shadow falling at the background. Okay, so that again adds more interest to the background. Now it will play more with the environment that we have in the background, more elements, and do all of that. Okay, so yeah, quickly let's let's create a kind of uh, something more, a kind of mountain like a feel in the background. Okay, so I'll create a new layer. I'll call it I'll just call it maybe background contours, yeah, terrain. Okay, background terrain. Okay, I'll just bring my pen tool up. Pen tool, you can bring the pen tool up by pressing P, or there's a pen tool over here. Right click, go to the pen tool, and try creating some kind of so it is similar to the Bezier curve that you use. Okay, so something like this, and something like this could work. Okay, something like this. Okay, and yeah, I'll just I'll end the selection something like this, and I'll right click and I'll go to make selection. Okay, so it adds this to the selection. I want to remove this bottom part from the selection, or I can just put that below that layer. Okay, so that also works. Okay, so what I need to do is I'll just put some color on top of this. Okay, so I'll just bring my color tool up. I'll make this color, a similar color, something like this, but a darker version. Okay, I'll put the color on top of it. This is the color I want. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll bring that below the ground layer, so that that part is not visible, and something like this. Okay, something like this looks. Okay, and I'll just select the ground part. Command by it, it selects that part and delete that part from this BG terrain. Okay, so yeah, we have something like this. Okay, so we have this kind of a terrain. We can similarly have one more something like this. Again one more thing, and yeah, so I'll just maybe create I can just randomly go to my this lasso tool and create something like this that that would something like this. Okay, or maybe add some more to it, or okay, so yeah, I'll just bring my color tool again, go back to this, add maybe a darker color. It completely depends on if you want a darker color in the background or something like this. Again, Control D, select Control press the ground part and delete this part from that particular. And this area does not look very good. Okay, so this area, so I'll bring the eraser tool up by pressing E, reduce its opacity, and yeah, make sure it does not look so. Yeah, or we can skip it. Okay, let's see how it looks later. Okay, so once we add more and more elements, now we can just reduce the opacity of the whole thing. Okay, something like this, make it blend with the background, multiply, and all of that thing. Okay, it is completely up to you, and you can reduce the opacity to see how it looks. Okay, and what kind of color you would want on different places. Okay, so yeah, right now we'd keep it something like this, and what we'll do is we'll try to bring in more elements on this. Okay, so let's bring our sun over here. Okay, so or let's start by bringing bringing something else. Okay, so I'll show you guys where do I bring where do I bring my textures from. Okay, so the next thing that I would be actually using right now is I'll just give me a minute. Okay, so there is a trees elevation. Okay, so yeah, let's start with the sky first. Okay, so I'll just show you a random sky that I've picked from internet. Okay, So this is a sky that I've picked from the internet, and we want to put this sky in the background. Okay, do you see now it still has watermarks and everything? Okay, but yeah, no, it is completely fine. We do not want to, we can, still work with this also. Okay, so yeah, this is the kind of, this is the kind of thing we want in the in our sky. Okay, so this is the kind of effect, but I'll tell you how do make it look more subtle, make it look, blend it more with the background. Okay, I do not want to create everything using brushes and everything. So since it is collage rendering, we'll use less brushes and we'll, try to bring more and more image, blend it with the background better, and try to make the background look more beautiful by using these images. Okay, so yeah, so this is just a sky that I've, picked up from Google. It still has watermarks and everything, but does not matter for to us right now. Okay, I'll bring this down up, on top of our Grange layer. Okay, so this is where we want it, and now I'll just, play with the opacities over here. Okay, play with the blending mode. Okay, so maybe make it multiply. So this is how it looks when it is multiplied. Okay, it looks kind of good. Okay, this is how I want it. Even this looks good. The color. Would you see how the whole image started looking more and more interesting as soon as we put a, background, and we tried playing with the background blending options. Okay, this also looks good. Darker color also good. So it is, picking up the right blending option is just trial and error. Okay, just try different things. Okay, that you see. So overlay also looks good, but it, it removes the color that it has. Right now soft light looks good to me. Hard light, no, not as much. Vivid light, no. Linear light, no. So I think soft light looks the most, better to me, and then I can, reduce the opacity also a bit, something like this, so that it looks, it merges well with the background, does not look as blue, it looks, more orangish than the color background that we have, something like this. Okay, so I've just reduced the opacity to 50. I've, changed the blending option to soft light, and now, the whole thing looks more and more interesting. Okay, next what we'll bring is, next we'll, bring some trees. Okay, so I've just picked up, tree background that would be using, and believe, this is a very quick way to create a whole, good looking environment, and just after this step the whole design would start looking a very, a very beautiful one, more dramatic one. Okay, so just give me a minute, I'll show you guys where do I get these uh, textures and elements from. Okay, so yeah, okay, I'm really very sorry, make sure you guys learn everything, and uh, can you tell me if this is better? I hope I am back, and you guys are able to hear me. Can Anushree give me a heads up if? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let's get back to where we had left it. Okay, so yes, okay. So what we need to do right now is we need to remove the background from this particular image. Okay, and yeah, and we can use so that, it merges well with the kind of background we have, and it looks good. Okay, so yeah, there are a couple of things that we'll be doing. First thing is, let's remove the white background so that it merges well. Okay, so I've shown you guys 2 3 methods already. How do you remove, one method is, select the magic wand tool, pick the magic wand tool, select it and delete it. Okay, so once I delete it, what happens, you see the other parts which were, which were separated by a boundary, that do not get deleted, because, what magic wand tool does is selects everything, everything of the same layer, unless there's a boundary. Okay, so since there's a boundary between this white and this white, it selects only that white and does not select this white. Okay, so what instead is, what the other way is, you go to this select option on the top, and there's this color range option. Okay, that helps you select one color from the whole image, or from the whole file itself, or sometimes from the whole layer. Okay, so right now I want to remove every white part from this whole layer. Okay, so I'll just click on color range, and you have this option. Okay, so we have selection. I'll just pick white color, and if I click OK, it selects everything that is white in this particular thing. Okay, I'll delete it, removes everything that was white. Okay, and then this is something that we wanted. Okay, and then there are these some, some elements from the section that are going below. I'll just, you can just erase them. Okay, so we can just pick up eraser up, and yeah, reduce the flow a bit, and reduce the size of the eraser that we have, and yeah, remove these lines that we have, in the background. Okay, and then try to see and place, place it here, place it, below below our building actually. Okay, so it should be something like this, and we'll try to maybe, something like this. Okay, something like this, and we'll try to maybe multiply it with the background, something like this. Do you see, once I multiply, it looks much better. Okay, and it looks much more interesting. Okay, but yeah, it is a lot more cluttered on this side, so what I would instead do is I'll just right click and flip it horizontally. Okay, so yeah, we have less number of elements on the left and more elements on the right, so that because we also want to put our sun on the left. Okay, so yeah, something like this works, and yeah, this is how it looks good. Okay, this is how we would have wanted it, and the scale of people, trees, everything else is good. Okay, so yeah, this looks good. Okay, this is how we would have wanted it, and then there are some parts of it that have gone below the ground. Okay, so I'll just keep this selected, click on the command control, press this icon over here, and delete that part from the layer. Okay, so there's nothing nothing that is going below the ground. Okay, now this looks good. Okay, we have the environment is kind of set up. Now let's just put our sun, birds, and just some more things. Okay, so that make this looks more beautiful. Okay, so to create a sun, just press U. U gives so U gives U is a shortcut for rectangle tool, ellipse, line, everything. Okay, right now you want to or you can just go to this toolbar here, select the ellipse tool. Okay, and then come and create a circle. Okay, a circle this size is something that we would have wanted. Okay, so something like this is okay to us, and we'll place it somewhere here, and we'll change its color to maybe open the color dropper and maybe pick this orange color. Okay, something like this. Okay, we would want something a color like this. Yeah, something like this works for us. Okay, this color for the sun works for us, and yeah, next is let's make this more interesting. So you must have seen people play a lot with the sun by creating outlines or making copies of it, putting more and more yeah, playing more with the sun. Okay, so these are different elements that will make your illustration or make your render look more and more interesting. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just make one more copy of this, put it on the side like this, and I'll change its color to so if you want to change the color of the circle after you have made it, is select that and click on this ellipse again or press U. Okay, so once I press U, I have this option on the top. Okay, so I can change its color to maybe black. Okay, something like this, or it could have been white. Completely depends on what color. So let's do it white. Okay, I'll press U again and change the fill color to maybe white. Okay, something like this. Okay, and other thing is okay, so this is all once more, let's reduce the size of it, or we can keep the size same. Okay, completely up to us. Okay, something like this, shift it to the left and make it a bit opaque. Okay, something like this. Okay, something like this works. Okay, this makes it look more interesting, adds more drama to our environment. Okay, a sun like this. Okay, this is just for beautification purposes, nothing else. Okay, so if you once you're creating illustrations and collage, it is always very good to make it look more and more beautiful. Okay, so yeah, let's bring some birds now. Okay, so you've seen you can all yourself create a sun. Let's bring some birds in the picture. So again, I have downloaded birds again from using the same method from Pinterest, and I've removed its background. I'll just bring those birds here. Okay, so these are the birds that we have. Okay, one thing that I need to do is I want you see this black does not match with the background that we have. So if we had a white color birds, it would have looked good. So when you want to just inverse to the exact different color, you can just select the layer. First rasterize it by pressing Ctrl Alt R, and then press Ctrl I. Ctrl I inverses the whole layer. Okay, it inverses the color properties of the layer. Okay, so it's black, it will convert to white. If it is white, it will convert to blue or black. Okay, so just press Command I, and my birds now change to white. Okay, and now yeah, this is the kind of birds I want. Okay, but yeah, this angle does not look as good. So what I otherwise try to do is I try to maybe flip them horizontally. This again does not look good. Flip them vertically. Just I want a different arrangement. Okay, this is an arrangement that looks good. Okay, this kind of birds, birds going to the top, and a couple of birds on the sun, something like this. Okay, this looks more dramatic. So you need to understand, while you are putting your elements, you need to understand what would make your you can multiply this also, that so multiply does not overlay, yeah, or you can reduce the opacity if you do not want your birds to capture as much attention if they are very white. Okay, so depending upon how you want it, you can change the opacity, play with this. Okay, so now this looks this kind of looks a set frame, it looks beautiful. Okay, the whole frame looks beautiful already. Okay, so what other things can we do to make this more beautiful? Do you think there are more ways? So there are a couple of ways that people generally use to make their designs look more beautiful. Okay, so in this one we have used white color, white graphical color. Okay, so yeah, we can use that to create some ground lines, some angles here, so that this looks more of a architectural illustration collage, looks adds more drama to this. Okay, so yeah, so I was just want to create a ground line, maybe a white ground line, so that it looks more interesting. Okay, it it looks good. Okay, so yeah, I'll just so for illustration inspiration, you can always we keep on putting a lot of architecture illustrations collages on our feed also. Okay, you can get illustration inspiration from there also, or there are a lot of designs on Pinterest. Just go to Pinterest and search for architecture illustrations or collage renders. You'll find a lot of them. Okay, pick one style and then try to master that. Okay, so yeah, right now we just need to create a straight line, ground line, something like this. Okay, I want to maybe increase the height of this to 3. Okay, change the fill stroke to again white, change the height to maybe 4, and see if this works. So yeah, this looks good. Okay, this is the kind of impact I wanted. I could go to U and maybe reduce it to maybe 3 and see how it looks. So yeah, 3 also looks good. The thickness 3 is also good, and yeah, it looks good. Okay, something like this would work. The illustration looks good. I'll add one more, couple of more lines so that this whole area. Do you see this area looks a bit empty? Okay, so we'll maybe try to like we saw in a lot of collage renders, people had put a lot of circles so that it looks filled and it looks united. Okay, so what I'll do instead here is I'll again I can also put some lines and maybe put a circle in the background. First, let's get done with the lines. Okay, so maybe let's create some straight lines like this. Okay, and yeah, maybe have its width to maybe 3. I'm not very sure. Okay, 4, and change its stroke color also to white. Okay, fill to maybe nothing, not very sure, and we want to make this a dotted line. Okay, so something like this. I'll just zoom in and see so this does not create any kind of an effect. Okay, so I want to change the spacing of the dots. Okay, so this is the kind of spacing I like. Okay, this is the kind of spacing I would just increase the weight to maybe 4, and yeah, so yeah, this is the kind of thickness I would want, and it's kind of works. Okay, so yeah, it looks good. Okay, what else I'll do is I'll create a similar line here also. Okay, so how do you copy things? You can press alt and then shift a thing, it copies it. Okay, and you press shift and it does not change its line. Okay, so I can just move it to the top like this, and yeah, I can maybe I can actually rasterize it if I want to align it to this angle also. Okay, what I'll do is I will just rasterize it. Okay, and I'll create a copy of this again, and I'll try to rotate it to an angle. Okay, something like this. Okay, something like this works. So how do you rotate this? Select once you have that layer selected, once you rotate, move around its transformation controls, it already shows you this kind of a angle. Okay, so just move it to the bottom. Okay, I do not want to move, I want to move this layer. Okay, so yeah, something like this. Okay, so this kind of works. Okay, now I want to delete some part. So this also, do you see how it looks, how it makes it look more interesting, adds more drama to your collage already. Okay, so yeah, this is just to make it look interesting. You can if you want to just erase the top of it and make it merge to the background, you can do that also. Okay, it's completely up to you. Now what else do you think we should be doing? Okay, do you think there is something else we can do to make this look more interesting? We can try more things. Okay, so let's what we should do next, what I think is, let's put a circle. Okay, let's put a circle on the right hand side. Okay, how do we create a circle? Go to this option over here. Click on ellipse tool. Okay, on the toolbar, create a big circle like you want. A circle this size is enough, I think. Okay, I want to maybe keep it white itself. Okay, shift it here, place it, maybe I want to place it below below my buildings. Okay, something like this, or below below my everything. Okay, below actually just top of my sky, but yeah, something like this. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll select this, I'll change its blending option to maybe multiply. Okay, so multiplied, it is not even visible. Overlay. Okay, so overlay it is visible, but I would reduce the opacity, something like this. Okay, or I can change the color of the circle to something that matches the background color. Okay, something like this, and change its opacity to multiply, something like this could also work. Okay, so something like this, I think this works, this looks good. Okay, create a circle like this on one of the corners, shift it where you want. Okay, and yeah, this again makes it look very interesting. Okay, it adds more drama to your whole to the whole design. And yeah, this kind of looks, this kind of works as a final output. Okay, So if you want to just play a bit with colors and everything at the very end to make sure it looks more better. Okay, so you can just always go and you know select all of it. Okay, make a copy of them, or make, or group them. Okay, group them together by clicking on right clicking and give me a minute. Click all of this, right click and go to, why cannot, why can I not group layers? For some reason I cannot group these layers. Yeah, group from layer, because one of the layers was locked. Okay, I'll just group this layer, I'll make a copy of this group. Okay, I'll just press duplicate group. Okay, I'll hide this, I'll ungroup this one. I just want, I'm doing these things so that I do not cancel, and I'll go inside the group and I'll merge all of these layers. Okay, I'll right click and I'll click on merge layers. Okay, so it merged everything into a single, into a single image. Okay, uh, one group. Okay, so I have, I have the whole thing into an image. Now I just want to play with the curves. I can just, I have the whole thing as an image, press Control U again, and then I can play with the colors. If I wanted a different color, you can do that. But yeah, orange looks good. You want to increase the saturation, decrease the saturation to make it something, give it a more night kind of a feeling, or if you want to make it more look it more cool, make it darker, make it light, all of that. Okay, so yeah, play with the saturation a bit, what, see, what kind of effect you want. Okay, so to me something like this, this looks more good, more cool at -20. And yeah, this is, this looks good. And yeah, we can finally out, or if you wanted to just decrease the saturation of only one particular layer, you could have done that also. I wanted to change the whole setting of everything. Okay, so that's how I tried this. Now you have the final thing ready. You can just Control Shift S, or click on file, save as. Okay, and then I, or you can bring Control Shift S and save it as, and save it as your final output. Okay, wherever you want it. Okay, as a JPEG file, as a PNG, and then yeah, use it as you want on your Instagram, or upload it at different places, show it to people that you know how to do these things, and practice. Okay, so this was everything that we had planned for you. Okay, for tonight. Sorry about the connection earlier. Okay, now let me go back to and see what kind of doubts we have. Okay, so if you guys have any doubts, someone says show flight. Okay, we could have we could have brought plane also. I have not I have not downloaded that myself. If I do that right now, it will it will you can do that. Okay, you can always do that. Bring up plane from Pinterest or Google, remove the background, and try to merge it to the background using the blending lens. Okay, anything, any doubts? Okay, so we have covered the whole session. I hope I hope this was interesting. I hope you're able to understand, follow everything, and you will be able to create this whole thing. Okay, so yes, any doubts, do we have any doubts? How to skew the images for curved surfaces. Okay, so generally curved surfaces are not there. There is a warp tool that you can use. How you made the orange texture? Okay, so I'll show you guys how did I make the orange texture that we can do. Okay, so for curved textures, okay, there's this warp feature there. Okay, on Photoshop. Okay, so I'll just show you guys that also. Okay, so I'll just hide this, open this, ungroup layers. Okay, I'll just copy one of the layers that we had. I'll just make a duplicate of this and bring this to the top, and change it to normal. Okay, so yeah, if we had something like this and we wanted to so right click it, go to warp, and then you can have curve, kind of these kind of warping options also. Okay, this is also warp gives you uh, this benefit. Okay, so in warp, what you need to do is, like you skew, similarly click on one of the transformation controls, right click, go to warp, and then you can move these controls that you have on the edges, play with whatever like you want. Okay, so yeah, so you can do that. This is how you play with curves when you have it. Okay, okay, next doubt. Give me a minute, I'll just let me go back to the doubts. I'm not able to do the Control Shift I thing. Okay, Control Shift I thing. invert selection. Okay, you are not able to do the invert selection part. That is the setting that is there. What you can do is you can just go to Google and search for so I'll just try it again. Okay, selected this. I'll right click, and even after right clicking I have this option of select inverse. Okay, in the case that your shortcuts are not working, control shift I is not working, you can always go and right click the selection and click on select inverse. Okay, and it automatically selects everything that was not part of it. Okay, that was already not part of that, and control D to close the selection. Okay, I think this should help. Nice. Next. Why is it important to rasterize? Okay, if you do not rasterize things, Photoshop does not help let you edit the color and some properties of it. Okay, if you do not rasterize it, if it is still a smart object, Photoshop is just a rastering image software. You edit things which are images, which are rasterized images, or rasterized photos have just color properties. They do not have any other information on top of it. But yeah, if it is angle, a line, or a circle that you have created from the pen tool, it has more properties and not just the circle thing. Okay, you can create, or when it is a font. Okay, when in font it is a smart object, so all other things apart from rasterized layers are smart objects. Photoshop does not let you use all of its tool on a smart objects. Okay, so that is why you need to rasterize them. Okay, so you're not able to anything, just check if it is rasterized or not, and that could be the problem. How we put the materials fit to selection after skewing the image. Okay, so it was very simple. I think if you you can just you will have people who are subscribed to our channel. You'll have you can see this session for the next we'll have this up for the next 25 4 hours as well. Okay, just go back and see that again. It is very simple. Okay, so you just align it, make sure you have whatever area that you have to select, you have it copied on a different layer. Okay, you control press on that. Okay, so I'll just randomly show you guys. Okay, I'll just give you one more thing. Okay, so say you have this image and I wanted to put this image on on this part. Okay, so right now I'm not aligning it again, but I wanted to put this image onto this part of the facade. Okay, so what I'll do is first I'll place it on top of it. Okay, so that it selects it is on top of it. I'll align it like I want. Okay, right now I'm not putting in as much effort to align it. I'll just quickly align it something like this. Okay, something like this. Okay, and what I'll do is have this layer selected, press enter, have this layer selected, go back to where that bottom part was. Okay, so this layer is this inside the building group. Okay, that I have done. Okay, in that was the main side. Okay, s uh, yeah, this is the layer. Okay, so I can control press on this. What that does is it control pressing on this layer, it selects everything on that layer. It makes a selection of everything there is on that layer. Okay, so if I have my texture on top of it, I can just click on control shift I, it makes an inverse selection, and then I can delete everything that was not part of it. Okay, so what I'll have to do is I'll bring this on top of it. Okay, I'll go to that this layer. I'll command press on this. I have it this area selected. I do not want that selection. I want everything apart from that. I want to delete everything apart from this area. I'll just click on control shift I and delete. Okay, and now I have that texture on top of it here. This is how you do it. Okay, yeah. So I'll just go back to, we do not want to do this. I just wanted to show you guys how do you do it. Okay, yeah, any other doubt, give me a minute, I'll just go back to it. Okay, before we before we move on there are a couple of things. I'll take all your doubts, not worry. Can we also mask the material layer to the shapes accordingly, and we can also be able to edit the material? Yes, you can do that, Vinita, you can do that. I know this is not relevant to the session, but I wanted to know how we can put AutoCAD plan into Photoshop without reducing the line quality or image quality. Okay, just export it into an image and import it, or directly drop it. Okay, in case sometimes it does happen that the line quality reduces if it is a PDF, but yeah, in case it is an image, that would not happen. Okay, in case it is a PDF, you'll have to maybe create multiple copies of the layer and merge them together so that you have a darkened line. Okay, how these diagrams are made finally. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, okay, so I'll be answering all your doubts before, since we already have people, it is dinner time and some people, and I'll be here for a while now, and I'll be answering all your doubts. Okay, but yeah, in the meanwhile, if you guys, okay, so I'll just give me a minute. Okay, so yeah, did you guys like this stream? Okay, can you tell me can you tell me this? Yeah, I'll be showing you the orange texture, do not worry. I'm not, we are not leaving the session, just since some of you guys might leave if you do not have any doubt. I just wanted to ask you a couple of things. Okay, first, please like this stream. Okay, this is the first time we have tried something like this, and if you'd want us to create more more of these kind of similar kind of workshops for everyone. Please like it, and do tell us if you think you've liked this on comments on the chat here. Okay, if you think this was something that we should be doing more often. Okay, so yeah, if you have more motivation, if you have more people, we'll always try to do this. Okay, first thing is this. Second, for the people who have who had no who have we have your email address, who have registered for the 10K giveaway. We'll be sending you these files onto your mail, and you can use this and create this whole reproduce this whole thing as practice. I'll send you all these textures that I have created, that I have, because that you can practice this whole thing in the next couple of days. Okay, you'll have this video to go back to, and you can use all of that material to create recreate all of this. Okay? And once you recreate this, you'll gain the confidence to actually use this on your own design. Okay, so yeah. Okay, and for people who have not filled that form, who are from different part of our community and who have not done the 10K thing, you can just drop us a DM on Instagram, and we'll show we'll tell you how do get these materials if you want that. Okay, then okay, so yeah, we'll help you do that later. Okay, so we'll be sharing we'll be sharing the output of this session on our Instagram feeds tomorrow. Please, if you can help us reach out to more and more people, it will help us create we want what we want to do here is we want to democratize education, we want to democratize skills. There's some things that only a few people know, and people charge a lot to teach those things. So we want to make these things, make these workshops more and more affordable. Okay, so what we want you to guys to do is, please help us reach out to more and more people. Okay, we'll be sharing this output on our Instagram feed tomorrow. Please help share it on your stories if you have attended the session, if you have liked the session, and help us reach out to more and more people. Okay, that will help us create more such affordable workshops in the future. Okay, and yeah, that keeps us motivated. And apart from that, people who have not attended any of our other workshops, we have a lot of affordable workshops that are that you can find on our website karma.com. Please go check our website. Okay, and yeah, if you want to learn rendering visualization in detail, we have a 10-day workshop for that, where we teach you hands on, one to one, how do you do that. Okay, you can check the output of our students also, the people who have participated. We have a graphic design for architects, where you teach you how to create portfolios, competition sheets, how to present your drawings better. Okay, so we have affordable 1-day sessions workshop for how to win competitions, how to do how do you make your graphic design, how do learn Revit and BIM. Okay, so people who only know some people, architecture students, who learn only the Revit part of it, or who only know the modeling part of Revit, do not know the full potential of Revit, and that is why you might not understand when I say that you should be using BIM softwares, or you should be using Revit. Okay, so yeah, please, if you are interested in learning BIM, Revit, because that is the future of architectural softwares. Okay, BIM is the future of architectural softwares, and it would, using Revit instead of AutoCAD and all other softwares, it increases your efficiency by more than 50 to 60%. Okay, so yeah, learn all of that on our 1-day workshops, on our 10-day workshops courses. And why we try to create the most affordable courses and workshops in this particular field and in the industry. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for attending this session, for being with us so far. Okay, please keep supporting us, and that is how we'll grow, and we'll be able to create more and more such stuff for our community. Okay, yeah, now let's move back to the doubts that we have. Okay, just let me know, I'll just check the doubts on our Instagram, on the chat that I have open on my phone. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so yeah, so starting from the doubt from the very beginning. Okay, thank you, Roshni. Thank you, Vinita. Can you show how I made that orange texture? Okay, so how I made that orange texture. Okay, let's start with that first. Okay, so making that orange texture was not very difficult. Okay, so I'll just create a new file. Okay, similar. I'll call it texture maybe. Okay, and I hope you guys will be able to see this. I'm not very sure if you can see the new file. Okay, you can see the new file. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to bring some textures on top of it. Okay, and put a color. Okay, give me a minute. So just let me see that color that we had that I had used actually. Okay, to create that background. I think give me a minute. yeah, something like this would work. Okay, so the one that we had already used, I'll just use that for now. Okay, so yeah, you have something like this over here. Okay, increase its size, make it cover the whole thing, press enter. Okay, control alt r, make it, go to the background, change the background color to the color you want. Okay, we want a orange color like this, make it, go on that layer, go to G, and when you press G, you have a paint bucket, okay, tool. Click on that, you see on the layer here, it is changed to orange. Okay, it is not visible because I have a different layer on top of it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just go and multiply this layer. Okay, now do you see? But yeah, multiply looks better. Okay, multiply looks how I want it. Okay, and what else? In this color. Okay, so this color I want a, I'll go to this color again and I'll try to create a lighter color. Okay, I'll click on that. So we have a lighter version. Grunge, again, I'll reduce the opacity of the grunge, something like this. And maybe from multiply to, I can try overlay. Okay, I can try different things. Okay, different blending options. Okay, so maybe multiply works for now. Okay, so yeah, this is the kind of effect that you'll have. And then what next? I need to create rectangle. So what I did in that case was I divided my whole frame, equally with equal lines, and then I created, rectangles. Okay, so I'll just go here and I'll create, I'll open a polygon tool with, three sides. Okay, and yeah, I'll create, so something like this. Give it, you can give it a different color like you want. Press U and change the color, change its color to U. Okay, and and now I can edit this. Okay, so I actually made it on, on Sketch. Okay, so it's a Sketch is a different software that I generally use. Okay, but yeah, you can use something like this also. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll just, you know press enter, alt, and create multiple copies of it. Okay, uh, okay, so these things. Okay, since I have my triangle is, my angle was not exactly proper. uh, okay, give me a minute. So all you need to do is, just create grid lines and, create triangles. Okay, so, or what else I can do is, give me a minute, I'll show you how I did it on the so if you are using Illustrator or any vector software. Okay, you can create it very very easily. Okay, so I'll show you guys on the software that I made. Okay, give me a minute, I'll have to, change, since, can I go to my sketch file? Give me a minute. I think I cannot. Okay, so okay, let's do it on Photoshop itself. I thought I'll, I'll show you a quick way to do it on Illustrator, but I cannot, share that. I'm not set that up for stream. Okay, for the live stream. Okay, so yeah, you need to create. You can, randomly create lines using the pen tool, and start creating diagonal lines and all of it. Okay, so we will do it by creating triangle itself. Okay, three-sided triangles. Triangles like this, but I need to make sure that the color is, that it is clearly visible. something like this might work in our case right now. Okay, this kind of works. Okay, it is not the exact thing that I had earlier done since I did it on photo, Illustrator. But yeah, create multiple copies like this. Okay, and then select, you know, group all of these together and create copies like this. Okay, so I can just crop my whole scene from there to here so that we have the exact thing. Okay, crop the whole thing. Okay, now what we need to do is, okay, in these, from these layers we need to pick what element you want, which one you do not want. Okay, so I'll just click on these and cancel. Click on these, right click and ungroup layers. Okay, so now we have all of these. What we need to first do is multiply. Multiply does not work. Color burn, overlay or lighten, color dodge, overlay. Okay, so I need to, first I'll just control alt R to make, to rasterize all of this. Okay, yeah, soft light kind of works. Okay, reduce the opacity to something like this, and then you can delete some of those from between. Okay, so this is what I had done. Okay, so I had a different kind of uh, triangle. Okay, but yeah, this is the method I used, to create that texture. Okay, so I had a different, you know just keep, some of the triangles, delete some of the triangles to make sure that it looks interesting. Okay, so I hope you guys can follow this. It's simple, same thing, you just keep repeating this same thing, and then what you do is you just uh, right click and reverse some of this. Some, this one I would just right click and click on flip horizontal. Okay, this is how this one looks. Okay, so yeah, similarly, I can just select this one, transformation control, flip horizontal. Okay, so yeah, some of these you can do that. So select this, right click, flip horizontal. Okay, and you can just, the ones that you have selected, you can select those and you can, change the color of those maybe, or change how they interact with your background. Okay, something like this. Okay, you can change the color of their, or make them, make their color different. Okay, press U and change its color to maybe orange, or darker color, something, something like this, and then go to maybe multiply. Okay, so you have a different effect. Okay, for some of them, yeah, something like this. Okay, so yeah, this is how I created that effect. I'm not use the exact same texture, but yeah, now what you can do is just right click it and save it. Okay, just sorry, go to file, save as, and save it as a JPEG. Okay, save it as a JPEG, and yeah, that this is how that texture is created. Okay, so yes, that again can be done very easily. Semi-complex and is editable. Got it. Thank you. Can you share the texture files? Yeah, we'll be sharing the texture files with the people who have subscribed and have filled the form. Whose email address we have completed the whole 10K giveaway thing, and they have filled the form. Okay. There could be some people who are from different parts of our community who have not filled the form. In that case, just DM us on our Instagram channel. We'll tell you guys how do you fill that form. Okay, so that you can get these texture files also. Thank you so much, Anuja. Thank you, Rashi. Other doubts? Okay, let me just go over to this. How to changing the colors after pressing G command while creating ground. Okay, so what I did there was I did not change colors. Okay, so yeah, so what you can do is, so what I was doing was I was selecting different parts. So I've selected this part of the drawing. Okay, so I'll press G and then I'll just since this is not on any layer, I first need to create a new layer. Okay, I'll create a new layer. I'll call it maybe color. Okay, so on that layer I have created this selection. I need to fill a color over here. Okay, so I'll just press on G brings my G brings my paint bucket tool. I'll go to this, on the left hand side we have this color option. Click on that, change the color. Okay, pick whatever color you want, click OK and press G. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll create, I'll create one more. Okay, one more selection. Okay, I'll create a selection over here and again click G, go to this over here, change to a different color, press OK, paste it over here. So I have a different color now. Okay, so this is how, just press G, go to this, paint tool on the toolbar. Okay, on the paint icon over here, the color icon over here, click on that and change the color, press OK, and you can just fill it after it. So I think this answers your doubt. Okay. I'll change other doubt, yes, it was amazing, very clear. These are more tutorials here. These are will be a time lapse thing like once you will continue with us. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, guys. Ashton, can you share it? Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Faizan. Could you please suggest where do we get graphical plants? Okay, so we know there are a lot of different places from where you can get graphical plants. Okay, there are different websites also. Okay, I generally get it directly from Pinterest or Google. Okay, I do not spend time because there's a lot of variety there, and I know how I can quickly remove the background and use it. Okay, so just go to go to Pinterest and search for graphical plant elevations, plants, or whatever. If you want plants sections, there are sections for trees, but yeah, elevations, plans, graphical plans, all of that you can find on Pinterest. Bring it on Photoshop, remove the background, use it like you want. Okay, so there are a lot of websites that people generally suggest, but yeah, I generally prefer that. If you know a bit of Photoshop, it saves you a lot of time. Okay, so yeah, you can do that. Okay, any other any other thing that you would like to share, you would like to ask, anything else, guys? Or you want, no, we can call this a day. Any more doubts, guys? If you do not have any doubts, we can just wrap the session up right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being so patient. Please like the stream. Please subscribe. Please share it with your friends on Instagram. When we share this tomorrow, share the output tomorrow. That would really help us, make our workshops more accessible, more affordable, and reach out to more and more people. Okay. Thank you so much, Neha. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for attending the session. Okay, so I hope you do not have any more doubts. In that case, let's wrap the session up. Take care. Okay, have happy Diwali, and yeah, take care, guys. Okay, keep learning. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ria. Thank you, guys. Okay, chalo, let's hope to see you guys on one of our future workshops. And if you are, if you guys love travel, we have our travel workshops are more lit compared to anything else. Okay, so yeah, as soon as and we okay, so we do have some 40 people here, so I just wanted to ask. Okay, so so we could have asked this all to our live to our Instagram audience as well, but before that I just wanted to ask, would you guys be interested in studying from mountains? Okay, so there is this whole concept of working from mountains. We are I'm planning to shift for a couple of weeks to Himachal and do all these sessions and study their work from there. Okay, so do we have people who are interested in working from there, studying from Himachal, if we plan something in December or January, something in January after the exams and everything else is done? Yeah, we'll be where do we get the Google form? Just DM us on our Instagram channel. DM us if you have if you have not filled the form, if you do not have an email address. Okay, in that case, just put it on DM us on our Instagram. We'll help you out with that. Okay, yeah, would you guys be interested in if we have more people, I will definitely ask this to our community as well from our Instagram. But yeah, people, if people would want to go to Himachal, learn new things, and also you can attend your lectures from there, because we have we have a lot of good properties where we do our workshops there, and then we can study from there, attend your live colleges from there, and we'll take take very good precautions about the whole pandemic as well. But yeah, something like that. Okay, completely okay, really good. Okay, so yeah, okay, chalo, in that case, that was all that I wanted to ask you guys. Okay, thank you so much. Take care, have a good night. Okay, yeah, see you guys soon. Okay, I'll end this stream. Okay, in uh, yeah, happy Diwali, Vinita. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have attended a couple of sessions. Yeah, guys, if you want to learn anything else, we have, we have workshops coming up for everything. Okay, so we are going to have more workshops in the near future. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I'll end the stream in 5, 4.